we talked about this with the boys. Little Al, his mother, his biological mother, and Aunt Mary were sisters.
Right.
And Little Al's biological father was military, is that right? Well, anyway,
I can't answer that.
you can't answer that. Okay, that's what my impression was. And Little Al's biological mother died,
Yeah.
and Uncle Al and Aunt Mary took Little Al in and ended up adopting him. And I thought the reason really why is because his biological father was military and wasn't able to in that capacity. So that may not be the factual story. But is Corla May, is she a biological daughter of Uncle Al and Aunt Mary, or is she adopted?
Just Aunt Mary.
She's Aunt Mary's.
Yeah, Mary had one child.
Okay, she's Aunt Mary's biological, so we have that established. Okay. Now, Daddy was good with horses.
Yeah.
Okay. And he ran the chuck wagon for the hash knife.
Well, he didn't run it, he helped.
He helped.
He wrangled horses of a morning, and when he got back in, if they didn't need him down with the horses, he helped the cook. And they moved that chuck wagon every day, so, and when the chuck wagon left, that's when whoever helped the cook moved the horses with the chuck wagon. The leftover horses went with the chuck wagon. So that is, you could call him half cook and half horse wrangler.
And Joyce, what kind of time did you spend up there at the ranch house? And what were some of your fondest memories?
I spent a lot of time with Corla May, and a lot of time with Carol and with Neisa. We stay with the families.
Or Carol?
Carol.
Oh, I'm
Eileen.
sorry, it's Eileen.
Okay.
And I really enjoyed it when we were up there.
My dad
But
talks,
don't ask me to get on a horse.
my dad says he doesn't remember things, but he tells about houses, like being in the porch of, I think, Jean's house or Al's house.
It's Grandma's house.
Grandma's house.
Yeah.
What homes, where were you staying? What homes were you staying in during that time?
Uncle Gene and Aunt Cuba rented houses. I think the house they owned burned down.
Yeah,
It was there behind the school, or on the highway.
that was on where the big apple tree was,
Yeah.
thousands of apples.
Yeah.
And those apples were planted by C.J. Kemp, right?
Could have been.
Then
Good, not sure, okay.
Uncle Roy and Aunt Bernice had a house that where it is right now, same house, right there. It was in front of the school, and I stayed with them. I stayed one summer for a while, a few weeks, with Eugene and Elaine. And then I'd go up and stay with Aunt Mildred and help her with her canning. And
That would be the upper ranch.
the upper ranch.
And Eugene.
And I remember staying down at the lower ranch several times.
Eugene and Elaine is young Gene.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
And his
Yeah.
first wife,
Elaine.
Elaine Wilhelm.
Yeah,
And was that there in Vernon?
and were living in Vernon. It's the,
That orange house?
yeah, that
that's
kind of
a
orange sand
Bernard
house.
Whiting, Bernard Whiting's house.
Had, she was in charge of the post office.
Okay, just like, in the beginning, you said you're up here with, did you say Eileen or Elaine?
Uncle
Eileen.
Gene's.
Uncle
Eileen.
Gene's daughter. She was Carol until she got into high school, and she didn't like it anymore. So she called herself with her second name, Eileen.
Eileen, okay.
Neisa did the same thing. When she got into high school, she didn't like Yvonne, so we call her Neisa, her second name. No, that's her first name. Neisa's her first name. Neisa Yvonne.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know all that
Yeah,
stuff.
but they were changing their name all the time, and I could never keep them straight.
Well, when you kids were real little and lived up on the Taylor place, Uncle Eck had a homestead right up there too.
West of,
Yeah.
over where they, what they call it, Eck Mountain, that mountain was named after him.
Well, that's Alexander Nicoll.
Yeah, Uncle Eck.
Lynn,
Is he a junior, but
Lynn's
Lynn's
father.
father?
He had a son. And today at the cemetery, Greg came up, there's a Wilhelmina Nicoll buried there, who is Aunt Nomi and Uncle X, probably oldest daughter died as a baby and is buried there in the Vernon Cemetery. Greg brought that, asked me about it today, and I told him about Uncle X homestead, X Mountain, up there behind the Taylor place, or up behind Daddy and Mama's homestead.
Well, Uncle Eck in D.C. had kids about the same age.
Yeah. I guess
Daddy and Carlisle were essentially the same age.
Babbitt and Phyllis were the same.
Babbitt and Phyllis. You and Gwenny.
Now, there's 2 years between us, I think.
So 2 years between you and Gwenny?
Yeah, I don't have any cousins my age. They're all either 2 years older or
Well,
2 years younger.
Gwenny would have been about the same age as Merle.
Yeah.
Okay, Lynn and I were a year apart.
Lyman and I were about a half a year apart.
Okay.
Worth and Don were the same age. And
There's Grace in there. I don't know where she fit in the mix.
Grace was between,
Grace was after Lyman.
no, she was
No,
before
Is
Lyman.
she before Lyman?
Before Worth, too.
She was between, no, she
No,
was
she was-
between Worth.
Oh,
And
and
Lyman.
Lyman, okay.
Well, anyway, there could
Well, that we can check genealogy date.
When did the fences start at the ranch?
1920.
1920, and is that when, I think of the lower ranches that, of the township we're on, and I'm
Yeah.
assuming that right now, the top 6 sections, 1 through 6, section 1 through 6, we don't ranch right now. But that was part.
No, we don't.
But that was Eugene's, were those?
Some of it was Eugene and some of it went to Roy.
Okay, but I guess the ranch as we know it now, when did that start? Was it when the fences went up?
Yeah,
Okay.
because it was all open range, and I can't tell you when they fenced it. But,
But that was, at that point, it was Al that was running the ranch? No, that would have been Grandpa that was running the ranch, right?
until 27.
So did
Okay.
he have a name that he called the ranch?
Mineral Sinks.
That's what he called it?
And
And Mineral Sinks is the dry bed out there
Dry
now.
Okay.
And when Grandma died, Grandma Naegle died, it was incorporated when she died as Naegle Land and Cattle.
yeah,
And that was, what year was that?
it'd been after 1927.
Well, right, but she died in 48?
No, 50.
Wait, let's go back and clarify here.
53, I think, because I was back in Fort Madison, Iowa when she died.